Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. The date is the 6th, the month is January, and the year is 2026. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Single, a.k.a. Motel Noah. It is January 6th. We are taping the show 24 hours late, a day after we were supposed to. The deadline for the week. We had to push it a little bit, and so the sort of funny happenstance of that is that we do get to record the show on the 5-year anniversary. If you can believe it, that it's been 5 years since the heinous attacks on the Capitol, January 6th. There's been a lot of chatter in online in the last couple of months about these big waves of radiation, these big solar flares that the sun keeps shooting at Earth. That's why in these last couple of months, so many people, even here in Chicago, the northern lights have been observable in places that they otherwise wouldn't be, because the sun is just emitting so much radiation and shooting our way. So people have been saying a lot of mean shit about the sun. People have been saying a lot of not nice shit about the sun, and for all of the sun's faults, and for all of the and thank God for the Earth's magnetic field, but for all of the sun's faults, if nothing else, even the sun had the presence of mind to stay out of Washington, D.C. on January 6th. The sun never poked out. It was a cloudy day, overcast the whole day. I swear to God, if you look at all of these pictures, right, of insurrectionists and maybe potentially, this whole shit, all this shit about like FBI guys jumping out of vans and doing stuff, there's precedent for that. It does happen. Did that happen here? I don't care. I don't really care. But if you look at all of these pictures of all of the stuff that occurred outside, I swear to God, the sun's not going to show up once. So why does that matter? It doesn't. It's January 6th, ladies and gentlemen. Celebrate accordingly. Hey, we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Let's cut the chit chat. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. It's bingo day, ladies and gentlemen. The 2026 bingo sheet is officially here. And, use the timestamps to your advantage. They'll all be down below. You can kind of, oh my God, Nick, just get it out. A little cheat sheet for you. Use the timestamps. There will be a visual aid at the end, but we got some emails that we got to read first. We got some fun emails that we got to read first. And I really got to blow through these, man, because we got a lot of stuff that we got to get through today, okay? So copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. This got sent in just the other day. We haven't really had something like this in a while. I think it's a brilliant email. This comes into us from Ben. Ben, welcome to the show, brother. Subject line, wedding ring dilemma. Hey, Nick, longtime listener. Love the show and everything you do. As a Bucks fan, I appreciate the historically positive and optimistic coverage. You're welcome. It's not going to stop. It's never going to... Well, it'll stop when Giannis isn't there, and then TBD on how I feel. My emotional attachment to the city and to the franchise, I think, will always exist in some form. But the thread is mostly spun, I believe, by Giannis's presence. So, yeah, brother, I really do it on some for the love of the game shit. Like, I'll fall on my sword for the Bucks. So, absolutely, let's get back to it. My girlfriend and I have a bit of a kerfluffle on our hands. It is no secret that I am probably going to propose to her in the near-ish future. I love her dearly and want to build our life together. Our future together, rather. One problem, though. The ring. There's a ring in my family which has been passed down as an heirloom since the late 1800s. My family and I are Jewish, so it literally survived through the fucking Holocaust in Europe. My mother also wore it until her unfortunate passing when I was 13. You included that you're 25 now. As you can imagine, the ring has a lot of family history attached to it, which would make proposing with it a meaningful gesture. There's only one problem, though. And I feel bad even saying it. It's ugly as fuck. I'm surprised this is making me laugh again. I planned to include this, but it got me again. Just the way you just typed this up in a good way. It made me laugh again. The first time I read this email, I can't tell you how hard I laughed out loud when I got to it, because I just was not expecting it. It's ugly as fuck. So funny. Let's get back to it. It's the complete opposite of what my girlfriend likes to wear. Yes, she's seen it, and I can tell she's biting her tongue a bit and how she feels about it and how it looks. It's very gaudy, and it's completely studded with diamonds, which is far different than the minimal style that my girlfriend would feel comfortable wearing. Obviously, I support my girlfriend 100%, and I want to get her a ring that she can wear proudly, and I am not personally hurt by the act of possibly going in a different direction. It's my girlfriend's life, and if she chooses not to wear a ring that's ugly, I totally understand and am okay with accommodating. The real issue comes with the act of leveraging the interests of my folks within my own of the folks within my own family. If my girlfriend were to reject it, I am concerned that there would be folks within my family who would view that negatively. She's a wonderful person and has treated everyone she meets with respect. Right? He kind of does a whole a big wife guy here. He talks about how good she's great and blah blah blah. She doesn't want them to view her differently. Well, we get it. We totally get it. I guess I'm just looking for your 2 cents as I recognize that I'm the one who is going to have to leverage this potential PR crisis between my family and my girlfriend. I would chat about this with my therapist, but I recognize how novel this whole situation is, and also think that you would give some interesting input. Thank you for your time and attention from Ben. Ben, thank you very much for this, brother. I've really chewed on this. I've really tried. I didn't get a chance to consult the inner circle, my girlfriend, Maddie. I did not get a chance to read this to her since you sent it in, which is really too bad because I think I think she would have way better input on this than what I've cooked up. I've really tried, man, because this is so interesting. And I actually think, I don't know if this is, I think typically when somebody's first response to somebody's problem is like, a lot of people have that problem. I never like that because to me, it just feels like it devalues my experience. So I'm not trying to do that to you here, brother. This feels like a actually pretty common thing. So what's really the point that I'm trying to make here? I don't know. I guess I don't know what people normally do here, but this circumstantially sounds like something that it's an episode, as they say. You hear a situation, oh, that's an episode for a sitcom, something like that. That's what this is. What's the actual solution? Man, all I could really think of is, and it's just, but this is just, you have to invest so much in this lie. And I just don't think it might be a bad omen, I think, for your marriage if foundationally the whole ring because what I'm trying to say is what if you propose with ring A or ring B, whichever, the historical ring, right? Let's say you propose with that, and then you do your engagement photos, you do whatever with that ring, you do the wedding ceremony or whatever you guys doing, you step on the mazel, you do that shit. And she's wearing the ring, and when you're around family for the holidays and whatever else, she's wearing the ring, but everywhere else in her life, she wears a different ring but that's just, you can't invest in that lie, because if she wants to post a picture on Facebook of her getting drinks with the girls and the other ring is in it, the ring that she actually likes, you know what I mean? Then motherfuckers are going to start commenting oh, what's it, you know what I mean? And then it becomes a whole thing, and then it gets brought up at Christmas. Well, not Christmas for you, but at Hanukkah for you. It's just not worth it. What else do you do? Can you reject it? It's the Holocaust, If it wasn't the Holocaust, I think you might be able to do it. If this was, even if it was, I need to say this out loud to find out if I believe that it's true. Even if it was from the late 1800s period and it went through didn't go through anything other than just time itself, which has a lot of value and significance in and of itself. And that on its own, does carry a lot of weight and hold a lot of significance for sure. Just the passage of time and surviving it alone does matter a lot. But if it hasn't gone through anything, then this is a lot easier, right? Well, if it's the late 1800s and it's survived for, what would the damn math be? 140 years. We'll call it 140 years, maybe 150. I don't know. 120 years. Well, what if it's done that and it's gone through the Holocaust? I don't want to. You can't tell her to suck it up. You can't do that. That's not a reasonable thing. She's the one, and you've identified this. I don't need to tell you this. You seem like a really well-adjusted guy, and you're not going to force anything on here. Obviously, you can't. She's the one that has to wear it. This is in a lot of ways. I don't want to say it's her wedding. I think that's sort of like the old way, the hashtag old way of it. This is your guy's wedding, and so opposed to, man, I don't know. Oh, that's just such a tough one. Is it that bad? I wish you included a picture. I wouldn't have put it in the show. I mean, unless you explicitly said that it was fine. And you can send it in and I'll still look at it, but I'm not going to, beyond this little segment, we're just not going to really talk about this. I guess maybe if you want in the future, you can give us an update on this. And I imagine we'll probably read that, assuming we don't invade another country. And there's nothing else to talk about. What do you do, man? What do you do? I'm not sure. I should say this. Happy marriage. Congrats on the past tense, future tense. Congratulations on the marriage. Hope that goes well. I don't think you should do that. Don't take my advice on that, which I took my advice back even before I delivered it on the whole, just do the proposal with the ring and present like this is the actual ring, even though behind the scenes you guys have a completely different ring. Yeah. It is just cool, man. It's also just hard to turn that down. To have one of those super meaningful family possessions. That's really hard to turn that down. Even if it is really, really ugly. Just because, again, of like sentimentally, like what it's been through, historically, what that thing has been through, and the shit that it's seen. It's not a sentient ring, but the shit that it's seen. It's cool to have something like that. I've always, I guess, I got some stuff here and there, but I don't know. I think all of us kind of wish we had something fucking sweet like that. I mean, it's devastating, honestly. I guess if you consider the history of what it's been through. It's devastating, but there's a lot of beauty in it. And this survived. I don't want well, if I say at least this survived, that's not what you want to hear. That's not what I mean. That's not how I meant that. But you know what I mean? I don't know what you do. Good, great email though. copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is you listen to this program. I don't remember if there was anything else. There's a really good email about ChatGPT making a guy's mom liberal. I just don't have anything for it. It's just a good email, but I just don't have anything for it, and I just think we're going to spend too much time kind of spinning the tires on it. Maybe we'll put a pin in that, and we'll read it on a different day. We'll do this one really quick. Because, yeah, let's do this one. This came into us from Lev. Lev is our 11-year-old correspondent. I think we need to have, let's do a little sit down with Lev. Let's do a little powwow with Lev. Let's kumbaya. Let's all hold hands. Let's wrap arms and let's embrace him, okay? 11-year-old correspondent Lev has emailed into the show, and the subject line is, a person in my class. Hello, Mr. Auer. There's a person in my class. Let's name him Rashford. In gym class, we were playing kickball. I ran to second base, and he was on the other team. And he was the second baseman. When I got to second base, he started saying, Lev, why are you so mean to everyone? In my head, I was like, what is Blood talking about? I'm not mean to anyone, and I would consider myself nice. And why is he talking about this now when we're playing kickball? At the end of the game, when we were walking out of the gym, he asked me the same question. Now, this time I said out loud, why are you talking about this now? He said that you keep being mean to everyone and calling people autistic. I said that I don't call anyone autistic. Then he kept throwing insults at me like, you're an idiot. You have Down syndrome. And then in parentheses, Lev, you included, I have better grades than him, so how am I the idiot? And then you also, Lev, and I don't know why you included this, but in parentheses, immediately following that, you also said, his right hand doesn't work. You closed the email by saying, then I finally broke and said, right hand. He got so hurt by that, and then he tried to punch me, and my friends had to hold him back. Then I got in bad trouble with the principal, and he didn't get any punishment. Who do you think is in the wrong? Have a correct day. Now, Lev, something tells me that there are pieces of this story that are missing. Something tells me that you're feeling really upset about how this went, and that you need validation in whatever story you want to spin here, brother. But I think something happened here. And I think maybe you were being a little mean to people. It seems a little specific, Lev, if this was somebody else, okay? Let's say, Lev, that a guy named Joey, who was 15, sent in this same email. And he said, after school, I was in the alley with some bad apples. And this exact same thing happened. A guy came out of a dark corner of that alley, and he said, hey, Jack, you've been calling people autistic. Now, if that guy hadn't been calling people autistic, Lev, you and I would surmise it is a very, very strangely specific accusation to make about somebody if they otherwise were not doing it, right? It's like if you're calling somebody and then somebody calls you out for that, yeah, that seems like a thing that would happen because people be saying that, right? I know people people make jokes about autism, and like that like the volume that people make autism jokes has just skyrocketed this decade, absolutely skyrocketed. But it's not always necessarily just like calling somebody autistic. Sometimes they'll say like on the spectrum, or they got the tism or something. I don't know how to communicate the point that I'm making here, Lev. What I'm saying, what I'm getting at here, brother, is you also included in your email, which you did not have to do, that his right hand doesn't work. Now, why doesn't it work? Is it in a cast? Is it broken? I don't know, man. You know what? And maybe I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt. But I think I just think if he was, you know what, man, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm being too hard on you for no reason. Maybe this kid was just trying to rile you up, but boy, actually, I don't know, man. No, because this kid would have gotten in trouble too. No, Lev, you're going to jail. You got to go to jail, man. You got to go to jail. We got to get this behavior corrected. All right, man. Lev, you clearly have animosity in your heart. And like, you have like malice, like for this kid, like directed at this kid. Like you and this kid clearly got something going on, right? Because you included to me, who doesn't know anything about this kid, you felt like it was important to let me know, man, that his hand doesn't work. Is it a disability? Because if it's a disability, then we're seriously you know what I mean? Because then you should have gotten in trouble. All right, Lev? If he's got a cast and he just like broke his wrist or something like that, and you're saying his hand doesn't work, that's funny. That's funny. I'll give you a fist bump. That'd be really funny. She's like, well, your hand doesn't work. And it's just because he like tripped and fell or something. That's funny. Sure, that's harmless. It literally doesn't mean anything. You can sign his cast and let bygones be bygones, right? If that's why. But if it's because he's got some sort of a disability, then Lev, we gotta, you know what I mean? Then we gotta go back to what I was saying earlier. We gotta figure something out. All right. All right. Let's do the bingo sheet, folks. This is a big year for the bingo sheet. I changed a few things this year. We'll do a whole visual aid at the end. I'm not going to leave it up on the screen the entire time. But I got some ground rules that I want to lay for the bingo sheet this year. So this is the third year of the bingo sheet. For maybe any newcomers to the show, or maybe who didn't listen to the last episode where we literally went over the last year's bingo sheet. So you would have, I guess, maybe had. Anyways, we just fill up a bingo sheet of stuff that we think is going to happen this year. Last year we did not get a bingo. In 2025 we did not. In 2024 we did get a bingo. Yeah, that actually happened. It was really fun. It was really exciting. This year we're trying to, the return to glory. Tiger Woods in the 2019 Masters. That's us this year. We're gonna get a bingo, but we had to call some wicked shots. All right, we had to call some wicked shots, and this year we will be returning 5 squares from last year. And one of them we're tweaking. Well, we'll cross the bridge when we get there, but we're bringing 5 back. Now, the etiquette of bringing 5 of them back, I had to discuss with my betrothed, with Maddie. I said, is it better if all of the returning ones are in the same row? And that way, if it gets a bingo, it's like, well, it's a returning bingo. We agreed no, that they need to be spread out and they need to be separated. Because otherwise, if they're returning, it's because I really believe that they're going to happen. I was just early. You know what I mean? And when you see what they are, you'll be like, yeah, you can't put those in a row because that could easily be a bingo. So we did the right thing and we spread out the returning ones. Okay. I really don't think, I haven't read all of these out loud and really gone through them the way that I'm going to do it in the show. I've just kind of individually been putting them down. So I don't know. I don't think any of these are like, I mean, there are a couple layups, but like, I think there are some weird ones in here. Okay. So without further ado, folks, 2026 bingo sheet. Let's start with the returning ones. Now, we always like to start the bingo sheet off with a layup. We just said we tried not to do that, but we always start with a layup. You're allowed to have freebies. Not everything has to be the hardest fucking thing in the world. You're allowed to give yourself some easier ones. And what we always like to do is we like to make it completely easy and free, and we just say someone famous dies. Okay? Because it happens every year. This year, we're doing things a little differently. We're calling our shot. I don't feel good about it. It's not nice. I hear myself out loud right now starting to do this, and I don't like that I'm manifesting this, because if I end up being right about this, then it's like, cool, you get to put down a green check mark on your fucking, you piece of shit. Like, so I don't feel good about this. I like this guy a lot. I'm just going to say it. I'm already doing it. What the fuck ever. I think John Goodman's going to die this year. I think it's, I'm just going to leave it at that. Just put a pin in that. Someone famous will die, but this year we are calling our shot, and I think we're going to go with America's father, John Goodman. So that's the first returning one. Second returning one. Grand Theft Auto 6 surpasses $1 billion within the first 24 hours of its release. We are officially in the year that GTA 6 will release. we think. It has been speculated since when was it, November, that this happened, that this second delay or third delay happened. What delay are we on already? It's been widely speculated that this will now just they pushed it to the end of the year so that now they can just push it to like the beginning of summer, like May of 2027 is what people think is gonna happen. But who knows? We'll see. If that does happen, I'm just telling you right now, we are gonna roll this over again. This will be one of the single biggest events in American culture, in not just American gaming culture, but in American culture. I mean, like bigger than Barbenheimer. With GTA 6, I really don't know like what else to compare it to, because like we've had massive video game launches. Can you believe it's almost been 20 years since Halo 3 came out? It was 2007, which means the marketing probably would have started in 2006. So we're almost 20 years up approaching on the marketing campaign for it. I guess it was September that it came out of 2007, so maybe it hadn't started. It doesn't matter. We're almost 20. That was a massive event. That was massive. Skyrim was also massive. We've talked about kind of this stuff before. But GTA 6 will be a completely different beast. Imagine when GTA 6 Online comes out. Oh, my God. You know, there's this just the shark cards that are going to get. Oh, my God, how much money they're going to fucking make, dude. Jesus. Yeah, there was this sort of viral thing recently, just on GTA 6 really quick. There was a thing recently about, like, do you think that GTA Online should be locked until, you know, you beat the single player? And people were like having honest discourse about it. And I felt like I was being gaslit by social media, man. I felt like I had fucking amnesia for real, because I guess, do people not remember when the game came out? Do people not remember 2013? When the game came out, I don't remember. I haven't looked this up, but I don't remember how much time it is. It was at least days. I think it was weeks. Between the game releasing and online actually being pushed. Like when the game released, like vanilla GTA 5 was only a single player game, and it was again, I don't remember how much time it was, but like if you had the game, literally the only thing that you could do was play single player, and you had to wait. So I'm like, when the game first comes out, everyone's gonna fucking have it. You're only gonna be able to play single player, so it literally doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, okay, maybe some people will just wait, or maybe they'll launch concurrently. I mean, with a game this big, maybe they'll launch concurrently. Honestly, I would say with how much time has passed, and you know, between these games and whenever this officially comes out, whether it's 13 years or 14 years or 15 years, you know, however, we're not going to get to 15. There's no way. But people would be reasonably pissed. I'd say pretty reasonably upset if the GTA Online did not launch concurrently with the actual, you know, story mode. So that would be valid. Okay. The next returning one. LeBron announces his final season. It's got to happen, right? I was going to change this one so it wasn't going to be returning, but I was just going to tweak it to like LeBron goes to a different team. You know, he's involved in some trade, either directly to the team that he wants to go to or to some fake team, and then they just buy him out so that he's free to go wherever he wants. That could happen. We're just going to re-roll this is his last season, because it's going to be. Not this year. I mean, I guess we do get a little bit of a double dip. I mean, he's not retiring this year. Obviously, there's zero fucking chance. We would know by now. Absolutely, by now we would. But I don't know. You know, something weird could happen. What I'm talking about is that, like, he says at some point in the offseason that next year is his final year, but he says it in 2026. I think most of you knew what I meant. Second to last returning. Aaron Rodgers says he's gay. Aaron Rodgers is gay. We're going to bring that one back. Was able to watch that because we didn't tape the show on Sunday night. I was able to watch that Steelers-Ravens Sunday night game on NBC. Woof. What a barn burner that turned out. Like good old-fashioned, like Big 12 touchdowns in that game. Just the most wide open touchdowns that you've ever seen. So good. And there was a non-zero chance that the final throw of Aaron Rodgers' career was a touchdown. That almost happened if the Ravens were just able to make a field goal. If they were just able to make a field goal, Aaron Rodgers would be done. His career might be over. And I mean, depending on how the playoffs go, if we don't know, this could be it for him. The only way that we find out if Aaron Rodgers is gay is if he retires. Because otherwise he will stay in the closet. He's been wearing that wedding ring. He's been showing off and flaunting that wedding ring. But we don't know what his betrothed looks like. I suspect I know why. I may know why. And Aaron Rodgers will not be afforded the opportunity to live his truth until he is out of the spotlight of ultimate toxic masculinity, which is the NFL and its fans. So, Aaron, I'm rooting for you, bro. I hope it happens this year. And then the final returning one, there just weren't enough good ones or ones that could be rolled into this year. So I just went with this one. I went that there's going to be another more military presence on another Ivy League campus. I mean, with the way things are going, I don't really know why that wouldn't happen. There's nothing really even to elaborate on. I mean, it could be Trump trying to rip the wires out of education even more than they did when Doge was running shit. And that, he tries to pull funding or do whatever. He tries to kill a professor or something. I don't know. Or arrest a professor. I don't know. Is it something like that? Or just the way that immigration's going in this country and deportations and fucking disappearing people and shit like that. I don't know. Or somebody goes on another shooting spree and kills somebody and then kills a fucking scientist or something. And then the military shows up that way. Yeah, I guess it could be like that too. It just seems like a pretty volatile time here in the United States. And seems like some guys with guns could roll up on an Ivy League campus again. Doesn't seem like too crazy of a possibility. So, sure, we'll put that on there, that a military presence happens on an Ivy League campus again. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we get into the newcomers to the bingo sheet. Let's start with the World Cup, one of the single biggest events happening in the world this year, and it is happening here in the United States and in Canada and in Mexico. So on the bingo sheet, here's what we're going to say. I think a country might pull out of the World Cup. I don't think it's crazy to think that a country might pull out of the World Cup. Listen, since the last time we recorded an episode, the United States is up one South American president. We have one more South American president being held in captivity here in the United States today, the day that I'm taping this and the day that you're listening to this, than the last time that I spoke to you and the last time that you heard from me. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to suggest that by June, look, if he does anything to Mexico, because that's kind of where this is going, right? If he does anything to Mexico, I don't know what's going to happen to the World Cup. There's no fucking chance that he will do anything to Mexico between now and July. I don't believe it. And I don't believe he'll do it in the way that people always they don't believe shit that he's going to do and then he fucking does it. I don't mean it in that way. No, I mean that will you will murder the United States if you destroy the World Cup, because then you alienate everybody, even the people who somehow still fuck with you, no way. But I mean, invariably he will mess with it somehow. We saw how the Club World Cup went. No, I don't know. I think it would be it could be economic suicide for whatever country does it, but we see this shit all the time, bro. What is it, Eurovision going on right now or just happened in December? I don't know. Spain and some other countries, they pulled out of the competition because there was until the Israeli got pulled out, which, by the way, I never actually went back to that guy's email for him telling an Israeli to go back to their country. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I really should have denounced that. Let's rewind. Zoop, zoop, zoop. Let's go back a second. I forgot to, because I was just sort of doing it. I was just comparing it to Lev's email and the style of it. I forgot to denounce it and say, what the fuck was that? That kid just sees an Israeli in his class. And he's like, get the hell out of here. Pretty wild shit. I don't know. Who's the country going to be? I'm sure I can pull this up. This list won't have the countries who are still qualifying. The Italians aren't in here on this list because they still have to go through the playoffs to get in. So those countries I don't think are on this list. So Australia, no. Iran, no, I don't think they would. It would take some crazy dark shit for the, but I don't know. If you asked me 6 months ago, I would have said that by now Iran and Israel would have been blasting again by now. Which, outside of, the normal shit that they always kind of do to each other, there hasn't been, a large-scale thing. So, I don't know. Maybe that's kind of brewing, and then, inevitably when that does, then the United States will kind of get strong-armed into it. But, again, I think you'd imagine maybe they'll play nice. Japan, no. Jordan, no. Qatar, no way. Well, I don't know. Who is it? Is it, matter of fact, just to bring it back to Iran, who is it that's playing in the game in Seattle? Is it Iran and Saudi Arabia or Iran and Qatar or something like that? So before the World Cup draw happened and we knew who was going to be playing where, before that happened, the city of Seattle, knowing that they were going to be hosting a World Cup game, no matter who was playing there, they knew they were one of the host cities. They said, hey, the first game that happens here, we're doing like Pride Day. Like it's a Pride game. It's going to be the gayest game that's ever been played in World Cup history. And everybody was like, yay, like go off, Seattle. That's amazing. And then we found out who's going to be playing in the game. And it's two countries who, if you're gay in those countries, they'll put you in jail or kill you. It's pretty funny. And again, I think it's Iran and either Qatar or Saudi Arabia, I swear to God. And I think both countries, whoever it is, have been like, hey, we don't really want to do this. We don't want to play the game. Seattle's like, that's too fucking bad. Lumen Field's like, that's too bad. We're doing gay. We're doing the gay thing for the game. So did they pull out of the World Cup in protest of playing in the gayest game? No, I don't think that'll happen. I don't think I need to spend this much more time on it because there's literally no way that it happens. I don't think it's that crazy to think that I really think it might be worth going up and down this list and calling my shot. It's not going to be Egypt, Ghana, Ivory Coast. Like there's no Morocco. There's no reason for that. South Africa, no. Canada and Mexico, like again, barring Trump doing anything insane to them, like no. Because I don't know. Imagine, like, it's something like this. I just really wonder if it might be worth just saying it, just in case, you know? Like, I don't know. Cause what happens if like, Mexico's the final frontier or whatever, however long it takes to get from point A to point B and whatever Trump's trying to do right now. Which I guess we know what he's trying to do right now, but I don't know. We've been flying drones in and out of fucking Mexico for years now. Even Biden's guys were doing this, in and out of Mexico for years now, and they've always wanted to do the cartel shit. So what happens if they fuck with Mexico, and they're doing it in the name of counterterrorism and narco fucking terrorism and all this bullshit? What happens if they do that and Mexico's like, we are gonna? Well, they wouldn't do this. They wouldn't cancel the games at the World Cup, but they wouldn't do that. So I'm spending way too much time on this. They wouldn't do that. See, it wasn't worth it. Damn it, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it to go down that road. I need to blow through these. Like what South American countries? I think the Argentinian president was like, hell yeah, United States, like good shit. So I think they're chill. I think they're doing good right now. Austria, Belgium, Croatia, England, France, Germany, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, Scotland, Spain, Switzerland. No, like it's not gonna be any of these guys. Okay, all right. Well, we'll move on. I think someone's gonna pull out though. Next one, Kristaps Porzingis writes a piece in the Players Tribune. What do I mean by this? Look, I don't know. I just think that for a guy that people have been saying he has AIDS for like a long time. It's just gone unchecked for a long time. Years and years and years of this guy's got AIDS, this guy's got AIDS, this guy's got long COVID, this guy's got, and then it's like, well, he's got POTS. You know, that's what he's got. And, people say he's got AIDS and then he gets traded to Atlanta. And then people are like, oh, well, now he's good. Oh, a guy like Kristaps Porzingis, like, oh, he's never playing in these games because he's got AIDS. People used to say this about, it was way more racist when they said it about Joel Embiid. People used to always say that guy had AIDS too. They used to say, I don't even want to, it's just racist. I don't want to say the logic, the fucking head measuring science that people would use to deduce that Joel Embiid had AIDS was the same way. We talked about this in the last episode. It's like the same way that I don't need to keep doing this. I'm fucking doing it, whatever. It's like the same way that people, once a year will do Vladimir Putin has Parkinson's thing. When it was like 2017 and Joel Embiid would just like miss 10 games. There was like a portion of like NBA Circle Jerk that would be like, it's his AIDS. Like it's flaring up again. And it's because it's not worth it. Just think he calls everyone out. I just think that Kristaps Porzingis has had enough. And I think that, every now and then you'll hear something from a player in the Players Tribune. They'll write a whole thing about, the way that, their fame like affects them, but like, the way that fans affect them for better or for worse and the toll that it takes on their mental health. And it's like, well, how about when everybody's just been fucking mean to you forever? Like since like the moment that you were drafted in the NBA, you know what I mean? Like people were like for real jumping off the Empire State Building. And then even now, yeah, sure, I make all these jokes about people saying he has AIDS. It's not a joke. People do say that. But I imagine it's not like you don't see shit. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we're due. People have been saying crazy stuff about Kristaps Porzingis forever, and I just think that takes its toll. And I think there's stuff that, always goes on behind the scenes that you never know, and everybody's going to feel so bad and be like, oh, Kristaps Porzingis, like, we've been so mean to you. We're so sorry that we said you had AIDS, but we're so glad that you don't. Oh, my God. Kristaps Porzingis, Players Tribune. Keep an eye out for that. Ladies and gentlemen, up next on the 2026 bingo sheet, H&M is going to file for bankruptcy. Keep an eye on that. There's a trend in the fashion world, in the apparel world, where like once a company starts focusing on too many different demographics, it's wraps, and that's what a bankruptcy filing always follows soon after that. So like what I mean by this is, if you use H&M as an example, well, they're no longer making clothes for people within like the 13 to 35 range, right? For men and women, 13 to 35. Eventually they started branching out to like kids, like little baby clothes and sort of like normal kid clothes and stuff like that. But now what you're starting to see, there's sort of like Aeropostale's kind of going through this right now too, where they're sort of having this resurgence, and it's because of the kids, right? It's because of the kids. Lululemon is experiencing this right now, where they're catering to too many groups of people, and it's the kids specifically that are driving them out of business, that are making them not cool. Is because now the kids, like the literal children, like the fucking 10-year-olds, think that Lululemon is cool. Now Aeropostale's having a resurgence though, because they're exclusively focusing on the kids. H&M is focusing on everybody. They're focusing on fucking, now it's like like literal newborn kids, to now you're hearing about like, look, my dad was talking about H&M. He's like, you got to check out this store. I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, Pops. So look, my dad is he's almost 60. I don't think of him as a guy who's almost 60, but he is. And so look, Dad, I don't know. I'm so happy you found H&M. I'm so glad that the world of fast fashion, and it's, everybody says how bad it is and how fucked up it is and how unethical it is, and they're all right about all of it. But goddamn, if it isn't convenient to have a shirt that, oh, well, it's not going to be quality, and it's going to be a bullshit shirt. It's going to have holes in it in a year. Yeah, but right now it's $6. Right now it's $6. You know what I mean? So that's fine. I'll deal with that. A version of me from a year from now can figure out what he wants to do with a shirt that has holes in it. But right now, I need this damned shirt, and it's $6. That's what H&M is good for. But they cater to too many people. I would just keep an eye on this. I would keep an eye on it. I would short their stock. If I were you, personally, buy H&M. This is not financial advice. Buy H&M. Take out a second mortgage on your house. Go to the bank, get out a loan, buy H&M stock, and then monitor. Just monitor. H&M is going to file for bankruptcy. Up next on the 2026 Motown Noah bingo sheet, Stephen A. Smith and First Take. There's a departure that happens. There's a breakup. I think I'm going to be a year early on this one. I'm just going to tell you right now, we might roll this one. We're due. It's not that it's never happened. Stephen A. Smith saying something that just gets ESPN in so much hot water. It doesn't happen that often, though. I mean, the last one that I can think of, I think it was when Shohei was still on the Angels, and he was like, you can't be the face of baseball if you don't speak English. Just a rocket of a take. That's a fucking 105 miles an hour on the gun from Stephen A. Smith. You can't be this is preposterous. No, he got into a lot of trouble for that one. I don't know if it's going to be because of that. I don't know if it's because he says something crazy. These days he's got his show on, is it Sirius on the radio, that he has his other show. And that's where he talks about everything. He really gets into the world of everything. And he talks to just the dumbest people, and he has the dumbest conversations and the most hollow conversations that mean nothing at all. They mean absolutely nothing at all. But he does have that show. So I don't know if maybe he says something on there that somehow puts his job at, like, doesn't Disney own Sirius at this point? Like, is that the same umbrella? I don't know. I guess the syndication there. I don't know off the top of my head. That sounds like it could be, right? I don't know if something that he says he could be held accountable for with his other job that has nothing to do with the network otherwise. So yeah, I don't know how that works. But it also could be this, right? Like, I don't know. This is why I think I'm a year early. Like, do you think he's going to run for president? I don't know. I mean, we all hope he doesn't. We all hope he doesn't. Some of you hope he does. We've gotten that email before. I don't know off the top of my head how many times. It's happened, though, that email has come in like, hey, I don't know. I kind of want him to run for president. Him and Mark Cuban is the other guy that, we get emails like, oh, just offhand, as over since we started the show. Because this kind of comes up every now and then, like these two guys and their inhibitions, not inhibitions, their ambitions to, hold public office. I don't remember what what his most recent answer is. Mark Cuban has just kind of always maintained the same thing, like, no, I'm good. And he kept being like, nah, I'm good. And then he sold his majority stake of the Mavs. And everybody's like, you sure about that, big dog? Like, you sure you're not running for president? And he's like, nah, I'm not running for president for real. Like, I just fucking want to hang out. And then it was like, okay, like, Mark Cuban, you say you're not going to run for president. And then he was like, oh, and also, by the way, this is my last season on Shark Tank. And I'm not going to do this show anymore. And I'm going to not have I'm not going to be doing anything. And everybody's like, are you sure you're not running for president, Mark Cuban, you son of a bitch, you old bastard? Are you sure you're not running for president? He's like, no, I'm not running for president. No, I'm not fucking running for president. I fucking hope he's not. Oh my God, I hope he's not running for president. Obviously everybody's had to take a million times. Like, can we just have a motherfucker who's supposed to be running for president, like run for president in the United States? That'd be really cool. I say that it's not only happened the one time, Reagan wasn't really a politician, but, well, until he was, and then he became president, which he had a history. It doesn't matter. We don't need to do the Reagan thing. Literally, who gives a fucking shit? Also Arnold Schwarzenegger was also him. Yep. I guess we could do this whole thing, but Arnold didn't run for president because he couldn't run for president because he was an illegal. The Terminator was an illegal. It's so crazy, just kind of in that same world, in that same sphere. It's so crazy to make a movie like Rocky, which is just I don't know. I just think it's about like fuck the system, man, and like fucking kill the man, like kill Whitey is what I get from that movie, from the original Rocky. But like Sylvester Stallone in real life is just a chud, bro. Like he's like, hey, I love Trump. He's fucking blah. I loved Rambo, man. As a kid, as an adult, as a grown man, like Rambo rocks. I love Rambo. The first one, First Blood. They do First Blood, not me. I love Rambo. Okay. All that motherfucker had to do was for real, just like let John Rambo just have a snack. Give him a cup of tea. Just let him sit here. Don't kick him out of the thing. Don't kick him out of the restaurant. And then he fucking ends up killing, God knows how many people. No, I loved Rambo, right? But, I gave the very, very last one that they made, which I don't even know what year would that have been. I don't even know. It wasn't that long ago. That they made a Rambo. I couldn't get through the first fucking 15 minutes of it. It was shocking. I mean, obviously it was. Like, why is he still... It's like if Robert De Niro... Like in The Irishman, how like, there's that scene where Robert De Niro's like stomping that dude out on the curb, but it's like and he's playing like a 35-year-old, but it's very obvious that it's a 75-year-old man playing him, and so he's like literally can't move at all. That's like the whole last Rambo is Sylvester Stallone just be like, oh, where's my horse? And he fucking can't find his horse, man. And he's got this daughter. I don't know where this girl came from. It's unknowable where this girl came from. It's probably one of the other horseshit ones that they made. There's like 2 good Rambos, man. All the other ones friggin' stink. Let's get back to the bingo sheet, folks. Up next on the 2026 bingo sheet. Oh, I had a lot more. There's a lot of meat left on the bone on the Stephen A. Smith first take departure. I actually had a lot more to say about that, to hypothesize, but we got so much more to get through, folks. So we really just got to blow through these. Up next, Rich Paul gets indicted this year. It's got to happen. It has to happen. You're telling me Chauncey Billups shows up. So Chauncey Billups himself was indicted by the federal government, was arrested by the FBI. And he shows up to his arraignment in court wearing a Clutch Sports hoodie. I was like, what? I was like, huh? Huh? What? So we're all just waiting for this shoe to drop because it's not over. There's no way that it's over. There's no way that it's over. I damn near wanted to put Maverick Carter on here. It's going to be one of them, man. One of these days, man. One of these days. It's going to be something with Maverick Carter. It's going to be something with Rich Paul. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if Rich Paul is indicted and is sent to federal prison, Can you imagine the Adele album that we will get out of that? Are you kidding me? She's made albums about, I don't know what her albums have been about in the past, like being 19 and like being 21 and like being a, was one of her songs about an abortion or something? I don't remember. We'd be fed for days and weeks and years and hours if Adele's husband, did they get married? If Adele's a partner of her significant other went to jail? Oh my gosh. Hello from the fucking other side. You know what I mean? The sequel. Hello? Can we get that one? Can we get Hello from the Other Side, the remix? The 2026 edition? Because I think the remix to Ignition, you imagine that? Rich Paul and here's what it is. Ooh, I want to make a verbal amendment to this. We should throw Michael Rubin in here too. Something terrible happens to Michael Rubin. Well, I don't want to manifest as something terrible. Like something like as far as the judicial system is concerned, something terrible happens to Michael Rubin. I am not praying anything bad to happen for his physical being. But for his like financial being, yes. Yeah, his wallet, yes. Something terrible, something sinister, dastardly happens to Michael Rubin. So where I was going with this is like, oh, okay, so if Rich Paul and Michael Rubin go to jail, they get got by the feds, they go to jail. Well, maybe they'll get kept in the same jail as Diddy, and then they can just have white parties in jail. You know what I mean? They can just kind of do that. So who else would need to get arrested? Well, technically Leonardo DiCaprio would need to get arrested to really make it the white party. No. You can't get him. You can't get him because he's stuck on a boat in St. Bart's, and he can't make it to the the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards because of that. And so he's not going to jail. If Leonardo DiCaprio ever goes to jail, you'll never hear from me again. You'll never hear from me again. Who am I going to be like? I swear to God, if Leonardo DiCaprio goes to jail, I will do to him what Trump just did to motherfucking Maduro, bro. I'm in there. I'm hiring fuck Delta Force. I'm bringing the SEALs in. Let's bring the real motherfuckers in here. Let's bring the guys who keep their noses clean, right? All those damn degenerates in Delta Force. Let's get the real hard-nosed friggin' fuckers and get the SEALs involved. And let's get Leonardo DiCaprio out of jail. Although if he went to jail, the shit that he would be in jail for would be painted a certain way if I hired men with guns to break him out of jail, because it would be sex crimes that he would be in jail for. It would 100%. That's what it would be. I mean, what is he gonna go to jail for? Possession of what? Guns? Drugs? No, probably like girls that he's not supposed to. Probably. That's what it's been in the past. That's what the rumor's always been in the past. And that's not what it is, Nick. No, but that's not what it is. That's a false equivalency. Just because don't stop doing this. Nick, stop. I'm calling a timeout on myself, and please just get back to the bingo sheet, please. Please get back to it. Up next on the 2026 bingo sheet, following Rich Paul's indictment, not following it, on the calendar, I think Michigan State's we're due for a Final Four. Let's get this thing back on the road with sports. Let's throw a nice little sports thing in here. Yeah, I think Michigan State is a Final Four team this year. I think there's a non-zero chance. I've mentioned this a couple of times. We haven't done a full thing about Michigan State basketball yet this year. But with the winter break that I just went on, I've missed a bunch of games. This most recent one that they lost to Nebraska, it's their second loss of the season. I wasn't able to watch that, but this is what I was going to say. I really think there's a chance that this ends up being Izzo's best team ever that he's had. And Fears has stolen my heart. He's stolen my heart. Kohler is interesting because there's never been a player in my lifetime watching Michigan State basketball, which has been Izzo my whole life. So I've only ever known his guys, right? Kohler is the only Izzo guy in my life that I've not just flipped on and been like, oh, I actually do like you and do think you're good. Because usually when Izzo gets guys, I don't fuck with them. I don't get a chance to flip. Usually because they're not here for long enough, and so I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm never gonna like you. Like Max Christie, I still to this day don't believe he's a real basketball player. But despite the fact that he's had to prove it, he's an NBA player at this point. He's been in the league for a couple of years. And Izzo is obsessed with him. Izzo loves him. all Tom Izzo does is, to this day, still speak glowingly about Max Christie. And I've never seen it. I've never believed that he's a good basketball player, despite the fact that he very clearly is, good enough to consistently be, he's a good player. He's a really good player. And he contributes in meaningful ways and has played meaningful minutes in his career so far. The other player that I was actually right about with this was Deontay Davis. Thank God. Thank God. Him looking like a piece of shit knucklehead in the draft room on the floor, whatever year it was, that whatever class it was for him, like what was that, like 16 or 17? I really don't even remember. He should have stayed at school. He thought he was a lottery pick, and he wasn't. He was a second-round pick, and then he stunk. He was a bust. And he deserved to be a bust because he stunk. I think this team's really good. And I think Kohler, I hated him. I didn't believe it. And to this, at this point in the timeline, I love him, man. I really think this kid, what's that kid's name? Tang, number 2. He's got the hair. I like that kid a lot, man. He can shoot that motherfucker. But that's actually, ironically, the team kind of can't, is the sort of the hole that they fall into. Everybody that I talked to about this Michigan State basketball team this year, look, they've, like I said, they've lost 2 games now. They lost to Duke at home. Such a bullshit game that was. The whole game, I just couldn't believe that. I was like, wow, they're 100% going to win this. I think Michigan State's just the better team. And then the biggest observation that I was making at the time was like, wow, Cam Boozer's not good. Is that what I was like, oh, he's not good. First half, he was just terrible. And then the second half, he was just getting the nastiest, toughest buckets, like real NBA buckets. Every now and then it's always Duke that gets these guys. Like watching a player get NBA buckets at the college level, like watching it with your eyes, it's so obvious, like how much better that player is. There's just a difference in the way that, between a pro bucket and a college bucket. Yeah, man, Cam Boozer gives you a lot of those. He gives you a lot of those. Michigan State ended up losing that game. They just lost to Nebraska. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody I talk to about Michigan State is like, oh, they're shooting. They can go so cold and blah, blah, blah. And it's true. This Izzo team doesn't have a lot of shooting. They're like the Pistons in that way. But just like the Pistons, yeah, but they've only lost the 2 games. They've just supplemented the poor shooting in so many other ways, whether it be like generating shots inside or just like playing really, really good defense, or offensive rebounds. Like they just figure it out elsewhere or on the margins to supplement their poor shooting. And so, again, their record is indicative of that being true. They've only lost 2 games, and we're in January. And the 2 games that they've lost have been to really, really good teams. Right? What was that, like Nebraska's 18th win in a row? Is that what it was? Something like that. Duke is Duke. They're always going to be good. They have really good players. There's a little mini war about, why is Cam Boozer not the consensus number 1? Or not even consensus number 1. Like, why is there not a conversation about it? Like, why does it just have to be Darren Peterson in the NBA this year? Because Darren Peterson has just been an NBA player for like 5 fucking years, and he just wasn't allowed to enter the NBA as like a 10-year-old. That's a pretty bold thing to put on him, but it's just the truth, man. Like, he's been a stud for a really, really long time. Michigan State's hit rate against Kansas in my lifetime isn't bad. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. I feel like in my lifetime since 1998, I think like Michigan State versus Kansas, I'm sure that Kansas has the upper hand, but I bet it's closer to 500. It's closer to 500 than it is, Michigan State's record against like Kentucky or Duke or even North Carolina, like the Coach Cal, Coach K, Roy Williams years with Bill Self was kind of the guy that, okay, we maybe win this game. Izzo's record against Patino, I think, was always pretty decent too. No, I don't know. I think if there's a year that they're going to get back to the Final Four, well, hell, it could be next year. The team that Izzo's going to have next year, holy shit. Somehow is maybe 5 times better than what they got this year. And I think what they got this year is really special. And I think it's a team that really cares. And I think it's a team that plays hard. So let's say it. Let's just say Michigan State in the Final Four this year. I don't know where the Final Four is actually this year. I think it should always be in Indianapolis. There's my hot take. I think the college basketball Final Four and national championship should permanently be at Lucas Oil Stadium. How do you like that one? This next one's weird, man. This next one's weird, and I don't even know what I'm going to write on the card for this. This one's really weird, and I'm just going to have to explain it as best as I can. Like how Trump will say something on Truth Social or on Twitter, and then like you'll hear on the news or like you'll see an article pop up where it's like, oh, Trump posts this on social media. Like he just said this about this political figure on Truth Social. Well, like, I feel like we all know by now, he's not the one posting. Like, at least not all the time, A lot of these like memes and shit, like he's not posting those. Maybe you could say he's posting when it's words and he's not posting when it's like the memes and shit. I guess maybe that could be true. I don't believe he's typing his tweets. I really don't. You know, there's a precedent for this. Like people don't make their own tweets, you know? And I feel like we've kind of like, you have like, it's not even just like political figures and like celebrities like that. Like even Antonio Brown, like that motherfucker's not tweeting off his account. So when he's doing like Cracker of the Week and Cracker of the Year and shit like that and like saying insane stuff, like sometimes they get Antonio Brown to like do videos for his own socials, but he's not the one that's tweeting every single day off that account. He's paying probably some like 15-year-old Indian kid to do it. You know what I mean? Like Doge style. And like, even if you want to go further back than that, like one of the, like maybe the architect of this whole thing of like the somebody else tweeting for you thing was fucking Magic Johnson, bro. Like, for the longest time, and he still tweets like this, but, like, you know, the Dodgers will win a game, like, 2-1, and Magic Johnson will tweet, because he's an owner of the team. Magic Johnson will be like, wow, just watch the Dodger game from my box at Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers won by a score of 2-1. That means they scored twice, and the other team only scored once, which means that they won by 1 run. Great game. Like, he'll for real say shit like that on Twitter. It's wild. That's like just what Magic Johnson be saying, be posting on the internet, you know? Well, we learned, I don't know how many people, how many of you guys know this. We learned some years ago, he's not tweeting. That's not him saying that. That's for real. Somebody that's like in the room with him and is just like posting the shit that he's saying out loud. So I don't know, you know what I mean? So I don't know what makes it like worse is if he was the one saying stuff like that on the internet, or if that he's saying it out loud, just that he's saying it out loud. If somebody's just like transcribing it and posting it on the internet, he's got like a fucking stenographer walking around with him at all times. Like it's a courtroom. Okay. All right. Okay. Magic Johnson. No, I don't know. I'm sorry. I need to get this back on the road and say what the actual square is. So like somebody's tweeting for Trump, right? Somebody is. I want like an expose about them in the Washington Post, in the New York Times, one of these publications that shill for the administration. You know, well, I guess that, yeah, I guess it would almost, because it would have to be. Do you get what I'm curious? Like, okay, look, however this presidency ends, however it ends, if he fucking dies, like, I don't know how it ends. If he lives all 4 years and we get through it, no matter how it ends, right? Eventually, we're going to need to hear from a lot of people. A lot of documentaries will be made. A lot of things will be said into microphones on podcasts and through various forms of media. You know, a lot of people will be spoken to. Eventually, this is what I'm saying. Eventually, I want to hear from the person who is firing off these tweets. And like, what's the communication? Like, can you just say whatever you want? You know what I mean? Like, you can look at it this way too. Gavin Newsom has had, for like the American left, I mean, there are people who have fucking brains and see right through it. And they're like, you still suck, bro. But people really like Gavin Newsom now because somebody is funny tweeting for him. It's not him that's like doing Trump impressions on Twitter. That's not him. That's like some 22-year-old staffer, right? But that changes the public perception of him because everybody's like, yes, queen, like somebody's standing up to Trump. And I'm like, cool fucking meme. Like, what? I don't know. Like, I'd like to hear from them. I would like to hear from this person. An expose on the person who tweets for Trump. It's a weird one, man. But that's how you know I'm taking this seriously. Let's think of weird stuff. Up next on the 2026 bingo sheet, we got the Oscars coming up. Big year for the Oscars. This is going to be it's jam-packed Oscars. We'll talk more about this when the time comes. Maybe a little bit when the nominations come out. Here pretty soon, actually, that should happen within the next couple of weeks. Nominations for the Oscars should come out. And then I believe it's like March 13th or 15th maybe is when the actual Oscars happen. So we'll save it for, you know, a lot of the movie stuff for then. But I think I want to predict something that's going to happen at the Oscars. You know, every year somebody's going to go up there and, you know, everybody likes to, take one sort of, moral stance and say something about something that's happening in the world. You know, we can all kind of groan at it when it happens. But the truth and reality is that in a lot of instances, it is important to use that moment and that stage with this, a global audience to speak up about stuff. And so even if sometimes we're like, okay, fucking get over it. Like, let's go. Okay, come on. We all know, blah, 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 blah. Sometimes it is important, right? Well, somebody, I think, at the Oscars this year is going to get censored. The audio is going to get cut. The feed's going to get cut for a second because they're going to say something like, fuck Donald Trump and he's a fucking whatever. Boop. Like, I don't know what they're going to say. We're not going to know because it's going to get cut out. Somebody's going to get bleeped and cut. The audio is going to get cut during an acceptance speech because somebody's going to say something insane about Donald Trump. I wanted to somehow include something in the Oscars here, and it would have been so easy for me, to say something like, oh, there's another like Moonlight won Best Picture, fiasco, or La La Land, or oh, what was it, something like that, or like, Will Smith shows up to try to kill Chris Rock again or something like that. I don't know. Do you think there will ever be, it's tough to even, I just feel like we're not far enough removed from it. We're still just like, holy fucking shit, that was wild, to like really make an honest assessment about this. But do you think there will ever be a reconciliation between the Academy and Will Smith and Chris Rock in like a meaningful way ever? Do you think that will, I mean, he's been banned. Will Smith has been banned from the Academy. That guy's never going back to the Oscars ever again. It's hard to know right now. There's actually just there's a lawsuit going on with Will Smith right now that he like cornered. I don't remember. I don't even want to say because I don't remember what the lawsuit was, but I guess there was some weird stuff. I guess maybe Will Smith did some weird stuff to somebody. But I don't remember. Just go look that up. Look up Will Smith weird stuff guy in a hotel or a boat or something. I don't remember what fucking it was. It doesn't matter. Will Smith hasn't really gotten any meaningful work in a while, and that's obviously not for no reason. And so I would be pretty shocked the day that happens where he's on stage with Chris Rock. Chris Rock's never going to forgive that guy. Fuck that. Fuck you. No, never going to forgive you. No way. Man, the funniest reaction. I can never bring this up. Well, there's two of the funniest reactions. And every time I bring up the Will Smith and Chris Rock thing, I just got to say it because it's so funny. The funny one, the main one, this isn't what I was originally going to say, but this is the true funniest one, which is Judd Apatow getting on Twitter the day after the Oscars and Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. And Judd Apatow very earnestly being like, Will Smith could have killed Chris Rock. Amazing. No notes. 10 out of 10. And then got murdered for it and like deleted the tweet. And then the other funniest one, what was it like? Jim Carrey was on like Good Morning America or like CBS or something. I don't remember what he was on, but Jim Carrey was on the news like within the next day or like days following the Oscars and, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. He was like, if I was Chris Rock, I would have woke up the next day and said that I was suing Will Smith for $200 million for emotional distress or whatever the fuck like that. Chill out. Oh my God. Relax. It's insane that it happened. It's fucking crazy that it happened. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen happen on live television in my life. Just the absolute panic and like the realization, the very, very slow realization that it was real. You see Lupita Nyong'o's face right behind Will Smith because the audio's cut. We couldn't hear it, at least where I was in America. I think it was like the Australian feed that had the live, like the raw feed all throughout the thing. But, where I was in Chicago, our feed the audio was cut. So we couldn't really tell what was happening. It just kind of seemed like there was something was going on. And you just see Lupita Nyong'o's face in the back, like kind of like smiling. And then she just goes to like, oh, and then I was like, oh my God. And so then the show just kind of keeps going on, but like something's weird in the air. And like I'm texting my friend and I'm texting my brother. I'm like, wait, was that real? Was that real? Everybody on Twitter was like, what the fuck? Was that real? Did that just happen? And then slowly but surely, we all just collectively realized it was real. And that was crazy, man. I don't think nothing like that's going to happen at the Oscars. There's just no way. But it's also impossible. You can't predict something like that. You just can't. That's why it's the best show on the fucking planet, man. It's the best thing that happens every single year. The Oscars, ladies and gentlemen. Up next. Shit, I forgot I wrote this. Fuck, this is so mean. Oh, this is so dark. I meant to change this. I gotta stick to it because I can't change this. Dude, this isn't cool. This isn't cool that I'm putting this on here and that I'm like manifesting this. I gotta change this. I can't say this, bro. That's terrible. Did you guys know that later this year in 2026, the United States will be going back to the moon? At some point, I believe it's between February and April, the United States, NASA, will be conducting tests, flying around the Earth. We're going to try to go back to the moon, okay? These are the Artemis 2 missions, okay? The United States is trying to get back to the moon before China does or something. I don't know. I was reading an article about this. I was like, didn't they just do that? Didn't China just land something on the moon like hands-free style? I don't remember what it was. I swear to God, they were just there within the last couple months. So I don't know. It's always got to be something. All right, we're going back to the moon. Okay. So I need to change this because I straight up was like, it's going to blow up. Like, it's going to blow up for real. And why I was thinking that was because why would I think, why do I want that? I don't want that to happen. No, this is another one of those things. I can't say that it's going to blow up. That's not cool. Because then it's like, it's one thing if John Goodman dies. It's like, well, he's had a very happy life, very successful life. It's nobody should die. Well, not that nobody should die. Well, you know what I'm saying. God damn it, Nick. I basically just said here's a national tragedy that's going to happen sometime between February and April. No, you got to change it. I'm going to say Artemis 2 fails. I'm going to say it fails. Nothing's going to blow up. Maybe we'll be at a point in the country where, something needs to go away and something needs to take over the news cycle for a couple days, and the nation needs to wrap its arms around each other and mourn something, and you stage not a false flag in the sky, so to speak, but you know what I mean? That's not something that I want to manifest and put into the universe. It just seems like something that could happen, but but it's going to fail. A screw is loose and they notice it in a pre-flight check, and then the mission's off, and then billions of dollars in contracts are voided and burned up, and everybody goes home and everybody lives, but the tests fail, and the United States is unsuccessful in its first attempt to go back to the moon. And I don't know how many years. Artemis 2 missions are going to fail. Damn it. And then this next one, I'm just striking out on this. All I wrote was July 4th, 2026. Because it's America's 250th birthday. In parentheses, I wrote UFC event. All I meant was something's going to happen on America's birthday, man. Something's going to happen. But again, if I say it like that, then it's ominous, and it seems like I'm insinuating that like a terrorist attack is going to happen. That's not what I mean, but also, like, I don't know. I just think that it's like, I don't know what it's going to be. Like, I don't know if we're going to be at a point where, Trump wants to launch another special military operation and like uses the America's 250th birthday as like a, you know what I mean? Like something like that is like a significant date to like launch it or something like that. I don't know what it's going to be. So that's kind of why I'm just like put a pin in this, but it's such a freebie to be like, hey, something crazy is going to happen on America's 250th birthday. Yeah. Like no shit. Like, so that's why I'm just kind of like trying to like think of things that it could be, because I gotta like, call some shots at least so that we can at least kind of use some frame of reference to like what I was thinking I mean. Like, do I want it to be something about the UFC event that's going to happen on the White House lawn? Do I want it to be that like the fight doesn't happen? The fight gets canceled for whatever, fights, plural, get canceled for whatever reason, the entire event doesn't happen? I don't think there's any way. There's no way that doesn't happen. It is very funny, I guess, that the FBI is investigating the UFC right now while the UFC is in the middle of coordinating with the White House to plan this event for, okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. What do I think is going to happen on the 4th of July, America's 250th birthday? Well, Joey Chestnut's going to run shit. He's going to win another hot dog eating contest. That's for sure. Maybe someone will throw a perfect game in baseball. I don't know. Perfect game in baseball and Major League Baseball. Tarek Skubal, perfect game. July 4th, 2026. Keep an eye, man. Keep an eye out. I think something funky's gonna happen on that day. I think something might happen on that day that makes us wag our fingers and we say, I'm not sure about that. That thing over there that I just saw happen, as I look over at the calendar and it reads the 4th of July and the year is 2026. That thing over there was strange, and I think it counts for the bingo. Up next on the 2026 bingo sheet, following July 4th, 2026, big year in the United States, big political year in the United States for midterms. Big year for midterms. A lot of governor races in the United States. Yeah, I've got a couple of them this year. I think even Michigan's got one coming up. You think this is the year that like an AI-generated video, like a deepfake, swings an election? Are we there? You think it happened now? I was just reading something the other day. I think it was maybe from Axios or something. And it was like 2026 will be both the best and the worst year for AI. And it goes over all the pros and cons of growth as people have been doing over the last couple of years as we sort of rapidly approach this territory of like, what the fuck even is reality anymore? We gotta be there, right? We gotta. these generators, these video generators, these image generators are only getting better seemingly by the month, like maybe even by the week. Like, I don't know. It seems like maybe we're due for that. I don't know. It's unknowable what it could be. I don't know. That's completely uncharted waters. Like we don't know. Like, manipulated video is like it's a form of misinformation that has existed for much longer than a fucking year, or since like these AI generated anything have like become like a major form of not communication but like at posting on the internet. But like we're in a completely new threshold with it, and I don't know. I maybe it's too early for that, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. I guess I don't know, man. You really think that people would know? You think that people would know? But I don't think that people would know, because obviously people don't. Because if you're somebody who like uses Facebook, like, holy shit, people really don't know, bro. Like, but they don't know to a degree. You all know. I don't need to get into this. You all fucking know. Literally, the only way something like that could happen though is if a news agency was complicit in the lie, and they were like, I'm gonna use this as a complete arbitrary example. Let's say it was the last election and it was Trump and it was Kamala, right? So let's say that there was a manipulated video, a deepfake video that came out of Kamala Harris saying something insane. Like, maybe it was a video of her saying they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, they're eating people's pets. Maybe it was that, right? And Trump like posted on True Social and he's like, whoa, like, did you see this video from 2013 when she said that migrants eat dogs and cats and all this bullshit? And then Fox News is like, and then, cause he fucking calls in all the time, calls Fox News all the time. I don't know the connections he has. This sounds so dumb and far-fetched to be like, well, a news agency would have to be complicit in peddling a lie that a deepfake video was real in order to convince a certain portion of the population that something was true, and they would have to be peddling it, knowing it. Well, it wouldn't be inconceivable to think that Fox News would do something like that as the thing, because anytime that they get into any legal trouble at all, anytime there's any consequence of legal recourse because of the shit that Fox News does or says when it is live on the air, their defense in court every single time without fail is, baby girl, this is not news, this is entertainment. Despite the fact that it says Fox News, we are not the news. This is entertainment. So yeah, they would just say that. They're just like, oh, well, we just thought, honestly, what's up? What's up? I'm Rupert Murdoch. Welcome to Jackass. This is telling the whole country that something that's flagrantly untrue is actually true just for the fucking funsies. And then he blows America's head off with a fucking shotgun, with a blowhorn. It's not that crazy to think that something like that could happen, honestly, and I've talked myself into it even more. I think this is gonna happen. If it did, here's what it is. The scope is too broad, and I need to narrow it down. Yes, Nick, it is a lot less likely that a deep fake or an AI generated video would swing a major election, like a governor for governor or for the president of the United States. Where I think the real issues would be in 2026 with this lie in local elections. That's what it is. A guy running for sheriff, and there's only 50 people in the town, and the guy that he's running up against, they're split right down the middle, 25-25. Well, I guess it couldn't be that. There's two less people. So 24-24. What the math on be? What the math on is? Jesus, Nick, say it. Well, what if the other guy, posts in the Facebook group of this little town an AI generated video of the guy eating a can of soup with like a lamp or something, and then they're gonna be like, this guy's a fucking freak, and we're not gonna know about that because nobody's gonna cover shit like that. That could 100% happen, but we won't hear about it, so it'll be unknowable if we can verify it. Up next on the 2026 bingo sheet, look, this RFK cat's been awfully quiet. He's been awfully quiet. You've heard about things that he's done. You've heard about mercury and vaccines. You've heard about Red 40. You usually hear about him in the context of some arbitrary animal that he has killed or found on the side of the road and is either eaten, skinned, and worn as a coat, or attached to the hood of his car, or like drove and put it in his windshield. I don't know. Sometimes you hear a lot of tabloids about that. But for the most part, like something we had on our bingo sheet for last year was that he and Trump were going to break up. No, they seem like they're honestly doing pretty solid for the most part. I mean, a guy fucking fainted in the White House like a month ago. Not just in the White House, by the way. A guy fainted in the Oval Office standing next to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the fucking health secretary. And the second that the guy fainted, RFK just walked away. No, what am I asking for him to, like, I don't know, not administer CPR, but like, what am I asking him to do? I don't know. Like, do something. I don't know. So what am I saying? I'm bearing the lead. I'm just talking about RFK. Nick, you haven't said anything. Ivermectin is passed and put into law as and classified, not as law, but or however this needs to be, as an antibiotic. Ivermectin as an antibiotic in 2026. Nick, for all of our Nick, what is ivermectin? Yeah, right, of course. So for all of our medically untrained and smooth-brained people out there, for people who don't know real capital M medicine, I think ivermectin is isn't it just like a horse steroid for horses? It's not for people. People shouldn't. I don't think people are supposed to. It doesn't. I don't think it matters if you. Well, I don't. Okay, hold on, Nick. You need to chill. Don't say it doesn't matter if somebody takes ivermectin. Okay, I don't know, but I know it's for horses. It's not for people. And what ivermectin is, and why it's funny as a thing, and why it would be classified. Why does this matter? Why would RFK? So for those of you who don't know, at the height of COVID, ivermectin, it was Trump pushed this, fucking Aaron Rodgers pushed this, Joe Rogan pushed this. They said that if you take ivermectin, you won't get COVID or it'll flush the COVID out of your system. They basically said it was an antibiotic for COVID. It was not. It was a horse medicine. It was for horses. Might have been a steroid. I don't remember what it is. It's for horses, bro. Like Nay style. I don't know. It seems like there's some shit that RFK may have peddled at some point, may have dipped his toe in the water on at some point too, that ivermectin will cure you of cancer. Ivermectin is an antibiotic. I told you, we're going to get wild in this one. Do I think that's actually going to happen? No, I don't think it's going to happen. But we got to get wild. I don't want to just be like, someone famous is going to die. We got to do wild and we got to do crazy stuff. Could you imagine if in the same year, we're talking about Aaron Rodgers and ivermectin. Can you imagine he's gay and ivermectin is an antibiotic in the same year? I mean, I kind of want to take it like just to see what happens. When I was a kid, I always wanted to use horse shampoo. Because I was always told that it would make your hair, it would grow your hair out a lot longer. And it would make it a lot like, I don't know. Like it's essentially, to use like a real over-the-counter equivalent, it's essentially the same as taking like biotin. Where it's not that, I don't know, it just like improves the growth of your hair and like expedites the process of it. It's like taking a damn hair tonic in Red Dead Redemption 2. You know what I mean? You take a hair tonic and then you fast travel or like you take a nap or something. You sleep for 18 hours, maybe 36 hours. By the time you wake up, you'll have like a stronger beard. You'll have a little bit more hair. It's basically like that. That's not ivermectin, by the way. That's just like horse shampoo. I don't know what ivermectin would do to a man if you took it. I don't think it would flush the COVID out of your system. No, I don't think so. Like if it's an antibiotic, if I take amoxicillin, which I'm allergic to, and then if I take ivermectin, well, it's unknowable I could be allergic to ivermectin too. And then I have hives because I took amoxicillin, and then who knows what's going to happen to me if I take ivermectin. I don't think anybody should take ivermectin. It's for horses. I've been bearing the lead. I've been meaning to say that the whole time. Ivermectin isn't even for people. It's for horses. Up next on the 2026 bingo sheet, following ivermectin being passed as an antibiotic, Roblox faces a potential ban in the United States. Yeah, man, I don't know. How do you want it? What angle? Which angle do you want first? Well, the guy who owns the company who like makes Roblox, I think it's literally called Roblox Company. He's Canadian. He's born in Canada. I think he's American. I think he might be dual citizen, but he was born in Canada. Strike one. If you're Trump, that's strike one. And that's where I'm going with this, right? So the stuff that we were trying not to say earlier about Artemis 2 and the United States going back to the moon, I feel way better saying about this, right? So, like, I don't know, if we get to a point in the world where Trump just needs anything to happen, he needs something to happen where people aren't talking about thing X, whatever thing it is that he does or is going through. Like, you can say, some of you might be like, what about the Epstein files? Yeah, you could say something bad happens with that, or there's a picture that comes out or something, or which those are slowly just kind of starting to come out. They've since stopped, actually. They've since stopped releasing those pictures. Since all this Venezuela shit has started going down. But anyways, if it's something like that, or I don't know, if he fucking steals another president or something, it just needs something else to happen. I guess it would make more sense if it was about the Epstein stuff, because this is where I'm going with it. Well, it's a pretty well-known fact that Roblox is like a breeding ground for, child molestation and like really predatory shit that happens, and like really, really dark stuff that happens on there, because it's a game that's like for like real life kids, and it's like the shit that goes on in there is like super fucking wild. So what if Trump, it's like the TikTok shit, so you gotta sell from ByteDance, sell from the break away from the parent company ByteDance. You gotta be American. We need all that data. We can't have them damn Chinese with their big panda paws all over this TikTok data. We need this data to be harvested in the United States. We need to bank this shit in the United States. Only we can harvest all these people's data without them knowing it. Yeah, that's us. Only we're allowed to do that shit. It's basically the same thing. Are they going to push? Oh, well, I'm Donald Trump. How could I be a pedophile? How could I be doing all this Epstein shit if I'm the one trying to kill Roblox and get rid of all of the pedophilia that's happening at the hands of this dirty Canadian who owns this game called Roblox, where there are sex child traffic rings that are happening in this game. You get what I'm saying? I don't know. God forbid this happens before the World Cup. See, he might invade Mexico and motherfuckers might die for real. And that would be Mexico's justification for being like, all right, like, fuck you. We're not friends anymore. They wouldn't stop the World Cup. I don't know. In Canada, all he would do is call the CEO of Roblox a pedophile, and then threaten to ban Roblox unless he sells it to like Mark Zuckerberg or something, unless he sells it to Facebook. Ooh, there you go. Roblox gets sold to Facebook or sold to Netflix. That could happen too, since they're really motivated in getting their hands on so many, games. Yeah, we'll stick with the Roblox ban though. But as a subtake to that, yeah, maybe Roblox gets sold to Facebook or Netflix or something. Up next. Oh, this one's so dumb. I wrote Juice WRLD class action. I don't even know how to phrase this one because it's not a class action. Like, people aren't going to get together to do this. What I'm trying to say is I think there's going to be a major like legal thing that happens as it relates to the estate of a dead person releasing music posthumously. I don't know what it's going to be. So you know what I mean? Like, Juice WRLD's fans aren't going to band together and do a class action against his estate. And this, whoever is managing his vault or whatever the fuck. I swear to God, the guy has released 3,000 songs since he's been dead. And they just like find a voice memo that's like 7 seconds long. And they just chop it up over a beat and loop it like 7 times. And then they do the same thing with XXXTentacion and like fucking Lil Peep. You know what I mean? Like, I just think at some point there's got to be something like a real big hammer that gets brought down. I don't know how to frame it though. I don't know how to communicate it. And like Juice WRLD was just the one that I thought of. I just named a couple other guys that like have been victims of this too, like their catalogs just becoming something that is like not even fucking real. You die and then 10 years goes by and you've released 7 albums. Huh? What's going on here? So I don't know what the square is going to be when I officially type this all out, but it's going to be something like that, right? Something happens. I think which I've never, for the longest time, I didn't really care. Like, oh, somebody's dead and you're releasing music on their behalf. My logic for the longest time was like, well, yeah, it's unreleased music and they have so many fans and, it stinks for some of that stuff to just sit in the vault forever. You know what I mean? And like, if that's what I did, like if I had like banger pod episodes, like in the can for some reason, and I died, I would be like, hey babe, like, I don't know, from beyond the grave, like, would you like post those? You know what I mean? Like I get that, but like it's because that's not what it is anymore though. But that's not what it is anymore. And they're just making so much money off of his name and off of his brand, despite the fact that he's been dead for 5 years now at this point, maybe more than that, 6 years at this point. So yeah, something like, yeah, give or take. So yeah, about 6 years actually. We're coming up on 6 years, I think. So I don't know. I just think something, obviously it's gross at this point. No, it stinks. Something's going to happen with it. I just don't know I don't know what could happen. There's not going to be a law that's like, well, if you die, then your catalog is just, it's locked and you throw away the key forever. No, it's not going to be something like that. I don't know this world enough to, to really communicate what I think that it could be. But I do think that it'll be something. All right. So up next on the 2026 bingo sheet, Nick Saban will be introduced as the commissioner of college football. I mean, we're due. We got to be due. He's being shoehorned into seemingly every conversation involving serious people within the sport, and the people who the cogs that make the machine that is college football run, whether it be athletic directors or the boosters that are financing so many of these programs. Like, it sounds like Nick Saban is having a lot of these conversations, and we've all just kind of collectively, kind of since Saban left, honestly, but mainly over the last 365 days, this commissioner shit has really heated up. And I think it makes a lot of sense. There's not no merit to it. I think there's also a lot of poetry in, the greatest coach of all time, the greatest college football coach of all time, being driven out of the sport because of NIL and the transfer portal and all this shit, and the calendar, the athletic calendar making no sense, but there's kind of reasons why it doesn't make sense. And it's just impossible to navigate at this point. And, it's just not the sport that he fell in love with anymore. And so he walked away. It was time, and he walked away after the Rose Bowl, right? And, it's that same guy who comes back to the sport in a very involved role to help regulate all of the shit that kicked him out of it in the first place. Or not kicked him out of it, but broke his spirit in the first place. There's a lot of poetry in that. Now, you talk about, in the last thing, me not knowing, well, I don't even know legally, what I'm talking about, how people are going to, what lawsuit am I talking about with dead people's discographies and shit like that? I don't really know. None of us know, this is where I'm going with it. None of us understand anything about how college football works at this point, and how NIL works, and how what the fuck you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do and shit like that. So when it comes to actual regulation, I don't know, people call on the government to step in all the time. I guess it would, why the fuck is what does the government have to, I don't get how it works. So I don't know what, Nick Saban's not going to become the commissioner of college football and then be I'm implementing a salary cap. Texas A&M should only be allowed to spend this. Wyoming should be able to spend the same amount as Texas A&M, and we got to put a cap on that. You know what I mean? Something like that. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck that's going to look like, but I know that everybody wants it. And it really just comes down to, if you're Nick Saban, obviously if he wants the commissioner job, but mainly if his wife, Miss Terry, will allow him to take the commissioner job. I think his heart would really be in it. It really seems to be in TV. Nick Saban has been amazing on TV. Nick Saban has been so good on TV. But commissioner of college football? I don't know. We'll see what 2026 has in store. Up next, NBA Europe falls apart. One can hope, right? One can hope. I just got to say it because I got to put something positive on here. We've been so negative in this bingo sheet. I got to put something positive on here. Well, how about NBA Europe falling apart? That would be cool. NBA Europe falls apart. Parenthetically, Seattle has life again. Vegas is dead. Vegas is dead. They killed Vegas. Vegas is dead in the dirt. Vegas may never come back. We may never hear about Vegas in the NBA ever again. I'm serious. Unless it's relocation. Then that's different, and then maybe. But even in that instance, I just think Seattle is going to get first dibs at this point. We tried the Vegas thing. I think everybody thought that it went well, but apparently the NBA doesn't think it went well. Domestic expansion dead in the NBA. All we can do is hope that NBA Europe dies. All we can do is hope that this, I don't know if it's a Ponzi scheme. I don't know what is going on, man. I don't know what business this is that's going on here in the NBA with NBA Europe. I don't know if you saw this. So I just don't know. I don't know what I'm missing here. I don't know what I'm not getting. So maybe I need to say this out loud and it'll come to me and I'll have a light bulb moment. You see this bullshit? Manchester City, the investors of Manchester City and the investors of PSG in France. They have been both on the record, they're interested in this NBA Europe, and they want to purchase franchises. They want to purchase franchises and buy into this NBA Europe, despite the fact, like I just said, they already own existing clubs in Manchester City and in Paris. Well, I guess it wouldn't be in Manchester and Paris, right? They already have basketball teams. They would be creating new teams from scratch that would be playing adjacent to the already existing teams. But the new teams would be playing in NBA Europe, and the existing teams would be playing in whatever fake European leagues that they play in, okay? I mean, NBA Europe is fake too. But You get what I'm saying? So why? Because if you believe in the league, why not just take the, you know what I mean? Why not just take the existing teams? And if like this is going to be a really big thing, like does it really shake shit up that much? You know, are you worried about leaving it like EuroLeague or again, whatever? I'm sorry, I don't know. I have no idea what leagues these teams play in. Are you worried about leaving them in the dust in case the NBA like dusts its hands and in 5 years it's like, oh, NBA Europe sucks and this literally isn't working at all? And then you're kind of left without a, you know what I mean? Then like the musical chairs just kind of doesn't really work anymore. Now you don't have anywhere to go. And if you create new teams, then it kind of doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it's more of a financial burden and more of a commitment. But like, obviously these guys, you think the investors of City and fucking PSG don't, you know what I mean? Like if anybody's good for it, you know what I mean? I don't know what this is. You know what I mean? Like, is this laundering? I don't know. It could be completely legit. I don't know, but it seems stinky. It seems like it stinks. And I don't like it, and I hope that it fails. I hate this thing. I hate this bullshit, and I hate the owners in the NBA. I hate that they pushed for this. I hate that they colluded behind the scenes, and they got what they wanted, and they won. And I hate that Adam Silver had to play by their rules. I think this fucking stinks. I really think this stinks because I think Adam Silver wanted Seattle and I think he wanted Vegas. I really believe that he did, honestly. For all of his faults and for all the crap that we give Adam Silver on the show, I actually believe that he wanted those two to happen. And I just think it stinks that the owners hijacked this whole thing. So I hope something happens this year and NBA Europe becomes insolvent. I hope it never gets off the ground. Up next. This is a weird one. The rest of them are just weird. Quentin Tarantino finds his guy. That's what I wrote down. What am I talking about? I swear it's been 3-4 years at this point that Tarantino's been trying to get this last movie made. He maintains that this will be his final movie, right? And it was a couple years ago that he was like, all right, I have the script and I'm just looking for the perfect actor. I want it to be a guy that I've never worked with before and I need him to be in like his mid-30s. So people were like, okay, and people kind of speculated. People were like, ooh, Jesse Plemons. People like Jacob Elordi. You know, people were kind of mid-30s, Jacob Elordi. I don't know. I have no fucking idea. But Jesse Plemons, I remember at the time, people were like, ooh, what about him? People speculated. You know, we kind of knew a loose outline of what the movie was about. And then I think it was that the script leaked again or something. I don't remember how this movie fell apart, actually. I think maybe he just fell out of love with the movie. I don't remember what it was. But he was really dead set on like finding a new guy, like a new lead for his last movie, somebody they had never worked with before. And since then, like, and I think that was like 2 years ago that movie fell apart. Since then, we just kind of haven't heard anything. And I just think this year, like, it's going to be a really big event. I mean, I don't know that he'll stick to it being his last movie. Maybe he will. He's been adamant about it for pretty much forever. That, what is it, 9? That's his rule, despite the fact that he's 100% made more than 9 movies. I know how he fucking counts them. I know what he does, blah, blah, blah. I get it. It'll be a big deal when that happens, you know, and it'll be an equally big deal, at least for me, and maybe we'll talk about it on this show when it happens. At least I will privately texting people about it. I will make a big deal out of, you know, when he finds his guy. I'm very, very curious to see who it's going to be. But this also could completely change because now his last movie from what we originally thought it was going to be is supposed to be completely different. It's supposed to be completely different, but I think this happened before. I think this happened with The Hateful Eight, like that script leaked. How did that work? Because it was like a play originally that he wrote, and it was done on stage. I don't remember how that worked. But we don't technically know at this point for sure what his last movie is going to be, and so because of that, we don't know if the type of guy that he's looking for, or if it's even supposed to be a guy anymore. We don't know. So now we can't even hazard a guess. But I do think this is going to be the year in 2026 that we find. Sorry, Jacob, aka Rusty Buckets, is he's laughing at one of my texts because I said that he had a woke desk. Okay, we're almost done, folks. This one I don't even want to spend that much time on it, but I have to. I wrote Pete Hegseth sex thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know who it's going to be, but someone's going to squeal this year. We talked a little bit about RFK. I think he's solid. I think he's going to have a big year making Ivermectin an antibiotic. It'll be classified as an antibiotic by this time in 2027. Someone's going to squeal. It's not time for Carolyn Levitt. She's still in the crock pot. We're still letting her marinate. She's not ready to crack yet. Bondi's not ready to crack yet. It's not Rubio. He's solid. It's not Vance. He's solid. He knows what's on the horizon for him. I don't even know if it's Pete, but I just think, I just don't think it is. So what the fuck am I talking about? Sex thing and cracking? What are you talking about? Well, I don't know. Apparently everybody involved in this administration is involved in, is the victim of or is engaged in the blackmail of a sex crime of somebody else within the government. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of their thing, is blackmail, sex blackmail. So he's probably got, I don't know. That guy's he's a registered alcoholic. I don't know. My heart's not in this one. It's not. Do I think anything's going to happen to Pete Hegseth this year where he's kicked out of the government? Where he's no longer the secretary of, well, I was going to say the SecDef. He's the Secretary of War. I don't know, dude. No, I just think he's solid. But he pisses off Trump so much. And I just think one of these times with his Alzheimer's and Asperger's, not Asperger's, that's not funny. That's not what I meant to say. Asperger's, damn it, Nick, Alzheimer's and, but you'll make jokes about Alzheimer's. Well, but there is a little bit of a difference. Alzheimer's isn't funny at all, but it is if Trump has it. It is if Trump has it the same way. And when I didn't mean to say Asperger's, I meant to say ALS. What am I doing in this episode? I'm being so mean. And I'm saying so much dark shit about people and saying that I hope such bad things happen to people. But these people are evil. What did he just do 3 days ago? He went into a different country and stole a president. Yes, I hope he gets ALS. The fuck? Come on, bro. Get your head in the game. Finish the damn thing. I think this is the last one. By my calculations, this should be the last one. It is. And it's not an original one. I'm stealing this from one of you. I believe it was Ryan that emailed this one in. A couple of you guys on your own sent in your bingo sheets for 2026. I saw you guys had a lot of really, really good ones. I guess I could have compiled a few that I really liked. One of you did say, well, here, let me say the take really quick. Michael Vick starts a podcast. One of you sent that in. I like it. It's fun. It's cute. There's a little whimsy in it. Michael Vick starting a podcast. It just seems like it's been a while since like a shockingly like what the hell guy started a show. Michael Vick's not that guy anymore. He's not that guy anymore. He did his time. He paid his debt to society. Like Michael Vick did some shit, and then some people aren't over it. I'm not here to litigate whether or not you should be over. I'm just saying he's made very, very clear efforts. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to say this and then somebody's going to be like, actually, all those charities that he done, I've just bumped the camera and it's going to ruin the whole show. It's going to ruin the entire presentation of the show. I just need to speed through it and fix it in editing. Don't worry about it. If I start talking about like, well, Mike Vick is a reformed guy and he's a real good guy, one of you guys is going to post a link about how the charities that he was working for, he fucking embezzled or something. I don't know. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he's just a really good guy. I don't know. All right. I don't know. For God's sake. I don't know. Okay. All I know is that Michael Vick did dogfighting and now it would be funny if he started a podcast. And where I was trying to go with it was the last like canceled guy, like real hashtag canceled guy that started a podcast that was crazy, was Armie Hammer. You guys know Armie Hammer? If you don't know his name, you'll probably know his face. If you've seen The Social Network, the Facebook movie with Jesse Eisenberg, Armie Hammer played the Winklevoss twins. That's him. So it was maybe like, I don't know, 2018, 2019. All this stuff comes out from a girl from like multiple girls where he was like trying to like eat them. Like when he was having sex with them, he was like, I want to eat you for real. Like I want to eat your skin. I want to wear your bones. Like really like real cannibal shit. And like he would say like super explicitly in messages, like I want to eat you and like I want to taste you. Like he would say super dark shit, and like want to some people are into weird shit and they want to use like fucking knives and use your blood as like fucking eat it and shit like that. I don't know. Like, nah, I don't want it. My grandma's like, I don't want to do this right now. He had some very, very aggressive sexual relationships with women, and it seemed like maybe he wanted to eat them, right? And so he had to go live in the Caymans for a while, and he was like for real selling life insurance in the Caymans because he was ostracized from American society because everybody was like, dude, you were in The Social Network, and now you're a cannibal for real. And then it was like a year or two ago that he just popped up. It was like, what's up? I'm starting a podcast. I'm back in Los Angeles, and I'm starting a fucking podcast, bro. And then like the first 2 episodes where it was his mom and him. He also went on like Piers Morgan and he was like, look, it was a relationship between 2 consenting adults and we had very rough sex and sometimes I wanted to eat her. And, they were very playful messages. And there's a lot of pictures and videos that come with it. It's super dark stuff. There's a whole documentary about his past, his family history, and how they're all super sexually violent people. Oh, my God, it's a whole thing. Well, that guy started a podcast. Michael Vick started a podcast. Sure, what the hell? Sure. Michael Vick can start a podcast. I don't care. All right, folks. That's the 2026 bingo sheet. I'll throw up a visual aid up on the screen. If you want to take a screenshot, nice little reminder, this is what the 2026 bingo sheet looks like for our video viewers. A good list. Again, I really think, man, we tried. We really tried to ratchet things up this year and to just say some wild stuff. Well, I don't mean like we're just trying to say wild stuff for the reaction. No, I don't know, but we wanted to call wild shots for sure. So, alrighty, folks. I'm talked out right now. I'm talked out right now. Been talking way too much today, in this episode. So, okay, man. I'll give myself because it's happening right now where I'm shutting down and I'm really shutting down right now. I got to give myself credit for getting through that. I got to tell you. Because that took a long time. And I didn't give up on it. And I never once was like, fuck, this is taking so long. I just got through it. Good for you, Nick. Alrighty, folks. Spotify, love you guys. Love you, Spotify. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to do that. I don't know if you guys are even able to listen to the episodes Spotify. On my end, things look fine. But when I check it like on the app, it's like not. Like something's going on. But I hope you guys have been able to listen to the episodes. I have no idea. I'm sorry. Apple Podcasts. What's up? What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.